Hello, dear Mortified listeners. This is Leyla reporting in. I am not feeling super jazzy presently, and so I did ask Aaron if we could delay the new episode just to give me some time to jazz myself up, and he kindly agreed. So, instead of a continuation of our discussion on the Fountainhead, please enjoy this rerun of our episode about Something's Gotta Give. Since it was still February when we were talking about this, so it's belated Valentine's Day themed. We'll be back next week with more new content. But for now, happy International Women's Day. And, I don't know, stay classy.
Welcome to Mortified, the Friendship Quest, a podcast where two long-distance friends bounce media recommendations, all in hopes the other will like it. I'm Aaron.
And I'm just like so glad I'm not straight.
And this week, we continue our review of romance with 1990's Pretty Woman and 2003's Something's Gotta Give. Before we discuss the fate of one deeply traumatized baby, you can help us on Mortified the Legitimacy Quest by subscribing to us on YouTube, iTunes, or Spotify, or following us on Tumblr at MortifiedPod. Layla.
Aaron.
Rom-coms rule, don't they?
Oh my god, they're objectively the best.
Yeah, last week we talked about, or not last week, 2 weeks ago we talked about Filari, and we had a great time with that. But like, this is really truly like the things that kind of we grew up with, which is like the classic American rom-com where you got two people that are very different, but somehow through the magical love, they come together. And, you know, the obligatory heterosexuality is just palpable, especially in our second film of the day. But, I like these stories. I think, these are both the rom-coms that, like, our first rom-coms we've seen, right?
Yes, that was the prompt, is what is the first romantic comedy you remember seeing? Mine comes with a caveat, because technically the first rom-com I ever remember seeing is an old Russian film from like the 70s, I think, called The Irony of Fate, or Have a Nice Bath. That is its full title. It's Ironia судьбы или с легким паром. That is the film. The reason we did not watch that movie, even though it is fully subtitled and available, is that it is, I believe, 4 hours long. So
184 minutes.
Yep, there it is. It airs in 2 episodes on Channel 1 Russia, and it is tradition to watch it every New Year, because the plot of that film is this is just a fun story to tell. So in Reconstruction Russia, the thing is that they reconstructed very quickly, and they built a lot of the same houses and apartment buildings in different cities. And so this guy gets super, super drunk, and he gets on a plane somehow and flies from one city to another, and with his same key is able to open a different apartment that looks just like his in another city. But oh god, a lady lives there. And then, hijinks ensue and they fall in love. He does ruin her life a little bit. She's like actively engaged, and he breaks up her and her fiance.
You hate to see it.
Hate to see it, but that's love, baby.
Yep.
But my film, what I brought to this episode is Pretty Woman, 1990, starring Julia Roberts and Richard Gere, and you brought
2003's Something's Gotta Give, starring Jack Nicholson and Diane Keaton and Keanu Reeves, which was a surprise to me.
We're going to have a lot to say about Something's Gotta Give, but I will say I think Jack Nicholson should do more rom-coms. Maybe with less shitty characters, but he looked like he was having fun.
He did. He was having a good time. Shall I do Pretty Woman and you to do Something's Gotta Give, and then we can kind of jump into each other's summaries?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Pretty Woman, 1990. Begins with Edward Lewis. He's this like shitty businessman. Basically, the Wikipedia describes him as a corporate raider, which means he like buys people's companies against their will, and then he like breaks them into smaller companies or units or whatever, and then sells them at a greater profit. it opens with him like having a conversation with his girlfriend who, he breaks up with immediately because she's like, you think I'm just at your beck and call. Like, I don't really want to, be here. You talk more to your secretary than you talk to me. And then he like talks to somebody who he had like an ex-girlfriend that he had previously dated or who just got married. Right. And he's like, hey, when we were dating, did you talk to my secretary more than me? And she's like, your secretary was one of my bridesmaids, which is such a good way to start that movie. It rips. But yeah, basically he's at this party and he's talking to his lawyer, Philip Stuckey, who is played by Jason Alexander of Seinfeld fame. And he is basically they have this new business they want to take over run by James Morse and his grandson David. I'm not sure exactly what they do, but they're like, I think shipbuilders?
They build ships is the impression that I got because they got Navy contracts and all the such.
Right. So, that's their next company, and he's going to go to, I want to say, Los Angeles to meet with them. And
yeah, baby, we see Hollywood Boulevard, we see Rodeo Drive.
Yeah.
He's in LA.
Yeah, he's in LA. And he's like going to drive to LA. So he takes Philip's car, which is a stick shift, and he drives to LA, and he doesn't know how to drive a stick shift. So like the gears are grinding the whole way. It's very embarrassing for him. And then we switch perspectives to our protagonist, Vivian.
The most character of all time.
Vivian's great. Easily my favorite character out of all of these movies. She is so fun.
I completely forgot, and I think it was when I was young and watched this with my mom, I think it was completely lost on me how charming she is, because I think I was very trapped in that, like, this is I was a teenager raised by my mom who's very like proper. I think I was trapped in the kind of internalized misogyny and the internalized classism of it all, where it's like, oh, she said she was gonna pee her pants, how crass. And now I'm like, nah, she rules.
No, she kicks ass. She's great. So basically we get introduced to Vivian. She's somebody who never finished high school. She, worked a couple of jobs, but, has ended up as a sex worker. She's rooming with her friend Kit. But basically they're having some trouble making rent. Unfortunately, Kit has spent their rent money on drugs, is I think what happens in the movie. And, she's like kind of, working the streets. We kind of see that the life of a sex worker is violent and short. Like there's a couple other sex workers that have been murdered recently, and we get that's kind of like the backdrop. We don't really dig into that much in the movie because that's not really what the movie is going for. But we kind of get the sense that it's hard out there. Specifically, they talk about like crack cocaine addictions being an issue because this is a movie that's very much set in the 80s. But that's kind of the issues that Vivian's is dealing with. So basically, Vivian's like, all right, I'm relatively new to the sex work thing, but it pays the bills, and I'm getting used to it. And she sees Edward, Richard Gere, driving this car poorly down the road, and he stops to ask for directions because he's lost. And she's like, okay, for $5, I'll tell you where Hollywood Boulevard is. And he's like, what? No. And she's like, well, I guess it was well up to 10. He's like, oh, come on. And then she's like, 20. And he's like, fine, get it. And
well, she said 10. He said, do you have change for a 20? And she's like, for 20, I'll give it to you personal. Gets in without asking.
Incredible. Yes. She kicks ass. And like then they start to talking, and she like makes some comments about the car, and she's like, oh yeah, I grew up with a bunch of brothers. I read all these car magazines, so like I actually know a lot about cars. And he's like, oh really? Why don't you drive that? Which is like very funny. It's a good moment.
Yeah, she's a total gearhead. There's also some really good, like, just in when the perspective shifts and we see her for the first time, there's just some, like, really good storytelling beats about her, like, filling in the scuffs of her shoe with a marker, pulling the zip up with a safety pin instead of a zipper because the zipper fell off. And there's, like, such a good attention to detail throughout this whole production that in the car, Richard Gere calls her out on, he's like, you're so good at money, but you're pulling your boots up with a safety pin. And I'm like, God, that's so good. Like, I don't know. I just feel like I'm so used to rom-coms in the 2000s being lazy that seeing one that gives like the bare minimum attention to detail was like genuinely delightful to me.
Yeah. No, you can definitely tell like they thought about, the ways in which you can see Vivian's character as more than, just like the stereotype, which is very fun. There's a lot of thought put into this. But basically, they drive to the Regent Beverly Wilshire Hotel, and that's like a really swanky hotel. At this point, Edward's like, okay, I'll see ya. And she's like, yeah, sure. And then he's like, are you going to call a cab? And she's like, no, I'll take the bus. And at that point, like, he's like, okay. I don't know if this is out of pity or like he's genuinely intrigued at this point, but he's like, oh, you know what? What's your rate? And she's like, oh, well, it's $100 an hour. And he's like, oh, okay, well, how much for the whole night? And she says, well, it's $300. And at that point, I was like, that's not enough money, girl.
Girl, for a whole night, $300. Come on.
Even in 2024 money, that's still not enough money.
That's not enough whatsoever. I also couldn't tell. I think he's already kind of intrigued with her at this point because she's a break from his like monotony. The thing that makes Edward compelling to me is that he always seems like an outsider in his own circumstances. Like he has this mannerism. Richard Gere playing this character has this mannerism about him where he just gets really quiet and he like stares at what's going on as if like observing it from outside his own perspective. Mm-hmm. He does it to Vivian a lot. He does it later as he's like kind of becoming conscious of his own agency. He does it in his business meetings. And so like every time she does something, he kind of stops and just stares at her as if he's like trying to piece it together, and it intrigues him. And I think that is what makes this movie work for me. Is his like consciousness and him having an actual arc.
Yeah,
right?
No, like he is a character. He changes throughout, and like he does like genuinely seem very interested in Vivian the whole time, which is really endearing. Basically,
and not just because she's hot.
Yeah, right. Like this is the point like where they're spending their first night together, and like he orders champagne and strawberries. Before they have sex, she like has this like, she's like, here's like 5 different condoms. It's a buffet of protection or safety.
A buffet of safety.
Yeah, hysterical. And he's like, wow, okay. And then she's like, you don't have to buy me champagne and strawberries. I'm kind of a sure thing. And he's just like, it's fine. And they watch I Love Lucy together for a bit. And he's just like kind of fascinated by her, which is really fun. Eventually they do have sex, but she tells him that, the one thing that she doesn't do is kiss on the mouth. And the next day, Edward gets a call from his lawyer, Phil. Basically Phil is like, hey, you're going to have dinner with James Morse, the guy that you're trying to buy the company from. He's like, you shouldn't do this alone. You should bring a date, have somebody to back you up. And then Edward's like, could just hire Vivian. She's here. And he talks to Vivian about this. He's like, I'll give you $3,000 if you hang out with me for a week. And like, do I think that that's, probably not worth her time? I think that's probably undervaluing it a little bit, but like, she agrees. They negotiate from down from 4,000, but yeah, it's just kind of a fun scene.
So he wants 6 days and 6 nights. She's charging him $300 a night, $1,800 for $1,800 for 6 nights plus days. That is 30. She should have charged him at minimum $3,600. But I guess you could discount the days because he's not around a lot. And she gets to just kind of vibe. And he did pay for a bunch of clothes.
Yes. Okay. So
I think that makes up for it.
Right. And she has this conversation. She calls Kit and talks about it. And she's like, oh, this is a really good deal.
Kit's also the most character of all time. I love them both. They're great.
Kit is fun. But yeah, basically he's like, okay, I need you to go get a cocktail dress. Because we're going to go to a fancy dinner tonight. Mm-hmm. And she goes to Rodeo Drive, but like we get the scene where the employees, she's wearing like this, pretty sexy outfit, which like, today doesn't really, it'd be like, oh, that's kind of, it's kind of, sexy, but like, I wouldn't expect people to stop and stare.
Kylie Jenner would walk out in that on Rodeo Drive tomorrow.
Right. But people are like looking at her as she goes into the store, and then the store employees are like, "Oh, yeah, there's nothing for you here," and they ask her to leave, and like, well, that sucks, and is obviously like, oh, people are being mean to Vivian. We don't like that. I do kind of wish that more employees could just tell customers to go away.
Yeah, not based on class, but
right.
Based on them being annoying for fucking sure.
But yeah, basically, Vivian's very upset by this. She comes back to the hotel, and we meet Barney Thompson, who Sierra identified to me as played by Hector Elizondo, who you'll know from the Princess Diaries.
Absolutely.
As the Julie Andrews romance interest. But he's like Go ahead.
Loves to support a plucky young lady, and
Yes.
I love that. What a career.
Yes, no, that's the best. That's kind of like my dream goal, is to be an older man who is dignified but also has a heart of gold and helps support young women.
You're well on your way.
I'm trying real hard. But like that's his whole. He brings her into his office. And he's like, listen, Mr. Edwards like a really important client, so you're gonna pretend to be his niece, and we're not gonna talk about what your job is, and you got to start wearing more proper clothes. And then she's like really upset 'cause she's like, well, I was trying to do that, and these people kicked me out. And he's like, oh, all right. And he calls the women's clothing department and like gets her somebody to help her like get buy a dress. And and then she's like, oh, okay, well, maybe you're all right, Mr. Barney. And they have a fun interaction. They become friends from there. He helps her like learn how to use dinnerware properly, like salad forks, etc. And she gets a nice dress. And then we get the moment where Edward's coming back and she's all dressed up, and he's like, oh, she's a real classy lady. We get this moment where he's like suddenly kind of into her.
It's a good reveal, I think.
Mm-hmm. It's good. Not to say that she wasn't attractive before, but it's definitely like, oh wow, she looks very elegant in a dress.
Yeah.
And they go and they have this dinner. James Morse, who's like an older, like crotchety guy, very much like the movie wants us to view him as like a father figure for Edward, is like, oh, I'm not going to sell. All you do is like destroy shit. Fuck you. But like, it does seem like he's kind of like having fun with Vivian, who like doesn't really know how to use the silverware. Like she accidentally like shoots an escargot behind her at one point, and I think the like attendant catches it, which is incredibly cool.
Like a fucking pro.
Yeah, it's great. But then like, they kind of go back to their room, and Edward, has this conversation with Vivian, and like he's actually not that upset, even though they like rebuffed him. He's like, we pulled some strings with the Senate Appropriations Committee, so your Navy contract that's supposed to save your company, we've stalled that, so you're fucked. Which is a fun detail. But then, like, they have a conversation again, and Edward's just like, my dad, I never really got along with him. My first company I ever bought, I bought from him and destroyed, which is like, yeah, daddy issues, very good. Later, Edward just leaves and goes to play or piano in the hotel lobby. Vivian compliments him on it, and they talk, and then they do fuck on the piano, which is maybe the most erotic scene I've seen in any movie.
I remember, listen, I was not, like, I am on the A spectrum. Not a lot of that shit works on me. I remember being a kid, though, like, watching this with my mom and going, fucking, let's be clear here, the Slavs, we are not as prudish. Like, I've watched sex scenes with my mom, it's fine, we don't care. But, I remember sitting there going, okay, something that I understand something now, I think, that I didn't understand before. It's a good scene. It worked. It's
very sexy.
It's fucking any movie made today wishes.
Right. I mean, even, we'll talk about this when we talk about the next movie, but like, I think it is like a different order of magnitude to the sex scenes in Something's Gotta Give. But yeah, anyway, that happens. They're having, it seems like their relationship's progressing pretty well. Then we get to this polo match, because one of the, David Morse likes polo because he's a fucking dork. And, Phil is there, and he sees, Vivian talking to, David Morse, and he's like, oh, Edward, she's probably a corporate spy. And he's like, well, no, she's a sex worker. I hired her. And then Phil, who sucks and is the main antagonist of this program, goes over to Vivian. He's like, oh, well, maybe after, Edward's done with you, maybe I can have you. He says it in a much grosser way than that. But Vivian's very hurt by this. She has a fight with Edward when they come back from the polo thing. And I think this scene is actually really, really good because Vivian's ready to leave. She's like, no, you made me feel, small and debased me because of my profession. I thought we were having a good time. And then you went and told your shitty friend who said a shitty thing to me. And then what Edward does is he at first is okay, fine. You want to leave. Here's your money, and is upset. But then he realizes that if he doesn't do something, he's going to lose her. So as she's getting on the elevator, he comes out and he does a real apology. And that's the thing about, rom-coms, right? I think a lot of the dialogue in rom-coms is a little bit corny and cliche, which is what you expect. So that's not really a criticism, but this felt very genuine to me. It felt like him being okay, listen, I fucked up because I was jealous of you talking to that other guy. I don't want you to leave. I'm having a good time. I'm having feelings for you. Please stay with me. And I think it's a pretty good apology that, a lot of young men could probably stand to watch and be he is explaining himself. He is talking about the reasons why he did it, but he is, it is a genuine, it's my fault. I'm sorry.
This scene is so good because, first of all, the fight is in two parts, right? There's a part where they're fighting in the bedroom and then they're fighting by the elevator. And when they're fighting in the bedroom, it is a long, wide shot on the two of them, but both of them go in the bathroom and the camera stays outside the bathroom and only one of them is ever in the door frame at a time while they're yelling at each other. So they're in the same shot, but they're not. They're completely separated. It's just good cinematography. It was great storytelling. And then the trick is that when he gives her the money, she doesn't take it.
Right.
So he puts the money on the bed, she doesn't take it, and in that moment the switch flips of he cannot make this go away with money. This is no longer a transactional thing for her. Her feelings were genuinely hurt. Mm-hmm. Because if she had taken the money, then the money he would have tacitly taken that as I can fix anything with money. It's over. She took the money. The transaction is over. Right. But that's the whole point of their relationship is that it's not transactional. It transcends transaction. And she kind of constantly subverts and breaks all of his expectations about the world he knows. So, great scene.
Yeah, it kicks ass. For their relationship, it only deepens. They have a big date night, and they fly to San Francisco on a private plane, and they see an opera, La Traviata, according to Wikipedia, which is also about a sex worker who falls in love with a man. And he says this thing about opera, which is even though you don't understand it, you can feel it in your heart or whatever. And the people who love opera will get it and it'll stick with them forever. And while I don't agree with that, I do kind of love how it is used in this scene, which is Vivian, who is, been portrayed as somebody who is not very educated, somebody who, is a sex worker, and just does have this deep emotional connection to the art that's happening in front of her, even though she doesn't understand it. And by the end is fully crying. I really love that as a bit of character building, just being Vivian is a very complicated person, even though she's goofy, she has these strong connections to art and it's a very humanizing moment.
It's also a good. It's a safe option because it is still keeping her in this world of the elite without giving her a chance to interact with anything but what's happening in front of her. Mm-hmm. So there's no pressure from the outside to behave a certain way. And when you sit in the darkness of a theater, famously, the barriers kind of come down. So it's a very good use of what happens in a live performance. To expose her, but it's also safe for Edward because he can just sit and watch her, and that is what he wants to do. He's completely bewitched by this woman this entire movie. It's a great piece of character building, and then two things from it is one, watching it I was did Anastasia cop this scene from Pretty Woman? Because it's very similar, even the cut of the dress is the same. Two, I think me and you both called out this line. It was so good I was gonna pee my pants.
Yeah, there's like an older couple afterwards, and like Viv is like kind of wiping her eyes, and this old lady's just like, "Oh, did you like it?" And she's like, "Yeah, it was so good. I peed my pants." And then the old lady looks shocked, and then Edward was like, she said she liked it more than Pirates of Penzance." And the old lady's like, sure she did. It's really funny, hysterical.
It's such a good one. I just love, I think like quips, quote unquote, and non sequiturs get a bad rap in the 2000s because I think we're like oversaturated with this like weird irony. But her quips work because they're earnest.
Right, 100%. Like, it is not meta humor. She's engaging with the story in the way that the character would.
Absolutely. She's so committed to her own bit. I love it so much.
It's great. They hook up again, and like Viv breaks her no kissing rule. They kiss. She says that she loves him. I don't remember if he says it back.
He doesn't. He just stares into the night.
Right. So that key moment. And then the next day he's like, what if you didn't have to work and I got you an apartment in New York and you just kind of like hung out with me? And then, this is the issue, is that she's like, He
wanted to get her the apartment in LA. He wasn't even offering to fly her out to New York.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So
he would only come through like a week at a time.
Right. So she's like, oh, well, that sucks. You get why that sucks, right? And he's like, well, I like you, but this is the classic, romance thing, right? Where it's like, okay, now they have to have a sort of contrived breakup. Although I don't feel like it's contrived here. I think
really
it works
not.
much better than a lot of other romances I've seen, because it does genuinely feel like he's like, I have feelings for you. I want to come hang out, but like he hasn't had that character breakthrough moment where he's like, oh, I want to build something more. So if it means like, what, I can't do that. I want something more. Thank you. This has been great, but I gotta go. And they basically break it off. She specifically talks about how like when she was a little girl, her mom would like lock her in the attic for hours at a time, and she would have this fantasy of being a princess in a tower, being rescued by a knight in shining armor. Sierra is watching with me at this point, and I was like, is that a fantasy that lots of young women had? And she's like, no, not the rescuing part, maybe the playing princess part, but that's about it. And I was like, yeah, sure, this was like in the 80s, 90s, this kind of...
Gonna say, unless you're me, your fantasy was being one of the rats of Nim.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, well, because Edward needs to have two major things happen. He needs to have her worldview reinforced, which is what's going to happen with the Morse deal, and there need to be actual stakes also for him, because he is still so coddled by, like, his safety in money and in the fact that the world kind of, like, opens up to him. He still doesn't understand that there are going to be consequences for losing her, because everyone does what he wants. He's the most eligible bachelor, as we find out in the polo game, right? All the girls are like, sure. Oh my god, Edward. So she needs to leave him, which is a trait consistent with the pride she's displayed, right? She chooses when, she chooses how, and how much.
Right.
That is... one way or how much. That's like the mantra for her and Kit. That's why they don't have a pimp, right? It's a matter of principle and a matter of pride. And that's the other thing I really like about this movie, is it doesn't talk down on sex work. It very much portrays that type of sex work, especially in the late 80s, early 90s, as, dangerous, obviously, but like a means to an end.
Right.
As a means to make a living. It's not this like hedonistic debauchery, like it's not presented as a sin, it's just presented as a fact of life for these women,
right?
So I really it doesn't feel contrived. It feels right, because he's not willing to commit and she wants commitment. Like,
yeah, absolutely,
it's great.
I know we'll talk about this again with the next movie, but I think Pretty Woman is just like so much more structurally solid. Like it doesn't feel as like a slog, as much of a slog as Something's Gotta Give, because of the way it's paced and structured. And even though these movies, like Something's Gotta Give is like 8 minutes longer, but it feels like a day longer. There
was a moment where I like accidentally hovered the mouse over Pretty Woman, and we were an hour in. I was like, wow, only an hour in, which is a deep contrast to what I was feeling an hour into Something's Gotta Give.
Sure is. Yep, we'll get there. Yeah, so there's this final meeting with the Morse company where Edward is like, okay, they're going to break. We have them over a barrel. We can actually buy the company and take it over like we always do. But Edward like kind of has this realization that he's like, I used to love to play with blocks. I really love to build things, and he kind of makes everybody get out of the room, including Phil. And he's like, Mr. Morse, I think we can actually do something more important. What if I don't try to destroy your company? What if I like buy it, but we don't like fire you or anything? We start trying to like become profitable again. He agrees, and Phil is like furious. But like that's how that ends. Then Phil goes he's very upset. He goes to confront Vivian. He attacks her, which sucks. Least favorite part of the movie, but again, that's kind of a trope of early 90s, 80s movies.
But it doesn't feel like a lot of the times when there's assault or attempted assault in books, movies, or whatever, it feels like it has to happen because that is how you make women feel small.
Right.
That is like that's just the thing that you do if you want to take your female protagonist down a notch.
Yes.
But it doesn't feel. First of all, it feels like it has some basis because we already saw that Phil is a scumbag.
Yes.
So it's consistent with his character. She resists it. It's consistent with her character. She does not want his advances because she's not cheap, right?
Right.
She's constantly resisting being made to feel like she's cheap. And we see him just like Edward was taking out by his own admission. Do you want to say goodbye to your wife?
I did.
Oh, okay. So just like Edward, by his own admission, was taking out his anger at his father on these companies, Phil is taking out his anger at Edward at Vivian. We get Richard Gere obviously coming in, and he punches Phil in the face, and that is how that resolves, luckily without anybody getting too hurt. But still, like, it didn't feel... A lot of the times when I watch, like, attempted assault in movies or read it in books or whatever, it feels like it's like, why this? Like, you could have done anything else. You could have thought of literally anything else. Here it's like, okay, this makes sense. Like, it sucks to watch, but that's art, right? That's a movie.
This is just like one of my personal taste things. I think they could have done this another way. I think it is done, about, if you're going to use this trope, this is about as good as you can do it. But like you sent my wife a copy of The Bone Season, which, like, when we talked about the assault scene in that book, it's just completely nothing. It's just like, oh well, I felt like I had to because fantasy is a gross genre. But
it's not there anymore.
Yep. And took it out. Shout outs to Shannon.
Shout out to Samantha Shannon. Shout outs to Samantha Shannon. That the rewrite of that book is quite compelling. She did trick me though, because it was like, oh, we're gonna rewrite the 10th anniversary of The Bone Season. And I was like, oh, okay, I can reread one 400-page book. Now she's rewriting the other ones too.
Oh God, Jesus. Well, God bless.
I gotta read the other
Samantha,
ones.
hang in there. But yeah, after that's resolved, Vivian is like, yeah, we still can't be together. Edward's like, all right, I guess. It seems like they're going to go their separate ways. Vivian's like gearing up to like move from LA to, I think, San Francisco with all the money that she's made, and be like, she's saying goodbye to Kit, which is very sad.
She also gives a lot of money to Kit, and at the end you hear Kit, again, means to an end. At the end you hear Kit trying to get another roommate, and she's like, well, I'm not going to be there as much, so I'm going to charge you more rent because I'm looking into a beauty course.
Yeah, which is very fun. Kit's great. But then, of course, Richard Gere comes driving down the street in his limo.
In a white limousine, like that white steed she
like
always fucking dreamed of.
Yeah, sure. And then he like climbs up the fire escape, which she climbed down in the beginning of the movie. He's also afraid of heights, so like that has like thematic resonance. It's like, he's overcome his fear, blah blah blah. It's completely fine choice. I think the ending is a little bit weak, but like, it's a rom-com. What do you want?
Yeah. It ended in the romance that we wanted. That's what we were here for.
Yep. Genuinely a pretty good movie. Like B plus A minus.
Yeah, I loved it. I honestly went in because I watched Something's Got to Give first, and I think you and I came out feeling a lot less charitable about that movie.
Oh yeah.
I was expecting to go into Pretty Woman like. I was like, it's a movie from 1990 about a sex worker. Like, I'm sure it aged, like, terribly and blah. It did not age as badly.
Nope. One of these movies did not hold up, and it wasn't the one from 1990.
I think something got worse after the Bush administration. I swear to God.
We're going to talk about that. Because I truly think that if we're in terms of quote unquote progressivism, Pretty Woman treats its characters way better than Something's Gotta Give.
I also saw an interview recently with Julia Roberts. I keep wanting to call her Julianne Roberts because I'm thinking of Julianne Moore, and I'm getting them conflated in my head. Julia Roberts. And she actually said that originally the script when she signed on to the movie for Pretty Woman was actually a lot grittier and a lot darker.
Right.
And it feels like the beginning of the movie where you're talking about finding that girl in the dumpster, or the ways that it proves that sex work is dangerous.
Right.
It feels like the remnant of the pre-Gary Marshall era of this film. And then the ending feels much more Gary Marshall, right? It's more convenient, it's a little bit tropey, but still lovable, right? We love a Gary Marshall flick on this podcast.
Have we seen a lot of Gary Marshall flicks?
Valentine's Day.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Also, Julia Roberts is in that. So.
By the way, aging beautifully. She looks great.
Yeah, genuinely looks about the same in Valentine's Day as she does in Pretty Woman. Shout the fuck out.
Yeah, girl, drop the skincare routine.
Seriously. Oh, I didn't realize. Yeah, I didn't realize that Gary Marshall also directed Princess Diaries 1 and 2. So
yeah,
there you go.
I was gonna say. Meanwhile, Jack Nicholson's supposed to be 63, and Something's Gotta Give. He does not look 63.
He looks 70.
Yeah.
So I don't think I've actually seen any other Jack Nicholson movies besides this one, but I know him from the scene in The Shining.
Right.
And he looks so much scarier in this movie than he does in the Shining scene.
I liked him with the beard. There's a sequence with him with the beard.
Yeah, the beard is all right. The beard looks good. I don't want to be mean to poor Jack Nicholson, but man, this is a
fantastic performer, just dressed and lit very uncharitably.
Yeah, no, he's made out to be kind of a creep. How about you do the summary of Something's Gotta Give?
Oh boy, here we go. All right. Harry Sanborn is a wealthy music executive who only dates women under 30. That is our literal introduction to the character. His whole opening monologue is about dating younger women. He and his new girlfriend, Marin, are going to spend the weekend at her mom's beach house in the Hamptons. They haven't had sex yet, so Harry's real excited. While Marin gets ready to go to the beach, Harry is caught dead in the fridge with his underwear on by Marin's mom, Erica, and her aunt Zoe. Okay, so Jack Nicholson, Diane Keaton, this is where we see them. Also, oh my god, what's her name? Frances McDermott. Is that who it is? No. Is that?
Let me check.
It's
Frances McDermott.
Yeah, Frances McDormand as Zoe. Zoe, she's great. This scene, I think, sets a precedent because it is entirely too long, much like every other scene.
Yeah, not wrong.
All right. They initially try to call the cops on him, but stop when Marin tells them that Harry is her boyfriend. They try to have dinner together.
Notably, we should probably point out Harry is 63, Marin is 29, and Erica is, I think, 56.
Correct.
So yeah, these are the age gaps we're working with.
Mm-hmm. And we're gonna find out why Marin's like this later in the film. Mm-hmm. They try to have dinner together, and Zoe points out that the contradictions between Harry's success and Erica's. Erica being a divorced Broadway playwright who, while still on good terms with her ex-husband, hasn't had any romantic partners since. Meanwhile, Harry is pulling puss left and right, and she goes on this whole monologue about how it's because men, if they are not married, are seen as having avoided the ball and chain, while women are seen as kind of used and less than. So women, as they age, become more interesting, but derided by society, while men kind of become heroes. They get articles written about them, which is the specific example they pulled. While trying to have sex with Marin, Harry has a heart attack.
Yeah, it's really good. Well, actually, the heart attack scene is bad, but...
Yeah, because she tries to do chest compressions on him that are too fast and gives him CPR while he's still breathing.
You should not do that for anybody listening. This is not medical advice, but also if somebody is talking to you, you don't need to give them mouth to mouth.
You really don't. They go to the hospital where Dr. Julian Mercer, played by a young, beautiful, shining, gleaming Keanu Reeves.
This is like 4 years after The Matrix, so like this is, he's still very young.
He looks adorable here. He's so smooth and cute. He treats Harry. He's also a huge fan of Erica's plays, and as Harry is getting released from the hospital, he offers to make house calls while Harry stays at Erica's place to recover. Because Harry says he's not going back in the hospital, and Julian's like, okay, I'll make you a compromise, just like stay nearby so we can have a nurse check on you.
Right. Again, this is not how medicine works, but sure.
Nar. It is absolutely not how medicine works. At one point, Julian gives him an EKG with an ultrasound machine, which is wrong on about 5 different layers. That is not what an EKG is. He would not be doing the EKG himself. It would be a technician.
Correct.
Sending it to a radiologist and then sending that report to him.
Right. Also, he gives the order to hang a nitro drip, and then asks Harry if he's been taking Viagra, because if he hasn't been, then the nitro drip will kill him if he has been taking Viagra. Harry freaks out and pulls his IV out. It's a very silly scene, but also that's medical malpractice. You can't do that. You can't make that call first.
Well, the second doctor doesn't ask him at all. He has to tell her.
Yeah. No, again, these doctors are terrible.
American healthcare system at its finest, right? Eric and Harry slowly start to become friends after some wacky hijinks. So, they're driving each other crazy. They're locked in this beautiful Hamptons beach house together. And Erica is uptight and she wears a lot of... The turtlenecks conversation.
We'll talk about the turtlenecks here in a second.
It's truly insane. But she's real uptight. She wears a lot of turtlenecks. And Harry's he has a hip-hop label.
We didn't talk about the fact that Diane Keaton's low-key racist.
Yeah, because how many things can you rhyme with bitch, Aaron?
Yeah, it is very much she's oh, you run hip-hop. That means you hate women. Because hip-hop is all about misogyny and violence. It's okay.
And Harry's weak-ass fucking response is some people see rap as poetry. It is poetry.
Yeah, it's just explicitly poetry. It's just right. A lot of it is rhyming.
It's literally rhythmic poetry. What are we doing here? Yeah. Anyway, so, they're driving each other crazy and blah, 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 blah. She's telling him not to smoke in the house.
There's another scene where she, it's 2 a.m. and she gets naked to walk around the house.
Hold on. We'll get there.
Okay.
She comes in, she's washing all his dishes, doing all this shit. They start to AIM message back and forth because they're bored. And they start to get along and get better. And it seems like it's fine. Aaron, why don't you explain how he sees her naked? Because it's such a fucking contrivance.
Basically, she's up late writing her play. And then she sees his light go out. She's oh, finally, he's gone to sleep. She takes off all her clothes. And then proceeds to walk somewhere in the house, and then he sees her naked, and he's I was going to the kitchen, and he when he sees her naked, it's somebody shouted "Fus Roda" at him because he gets thrown into the other room. And he's I didn't see much, just your tits. We're just okay, that's pretty funny.
It is the longest scene in the whole movie, I swear to God. It's not that he just walks in front of the door, turns and sees her, and gets Fus Rodad. He walks in front of the door, he sees her, she sees him, he covers his eyes, she's screaming. He steps back, she's screaming. He gets Fus Rodad, she's flailing at this point for some reason. They're yelling at each other. He says the tits line. It's a whole thing, and then they keep referencing it. But the whole contrivance of the thing was that the way that I understand that this house is laid out is that his bedroom and her bedroom are on opposite sides of this beach house, and the kitchen is between them. He said he was walking to the kitchen in the dark and somehow got lost and ended up in front of her bedroom, which is crazy because she was in her office.
It's very stupid. I don't know why this happens besides, the convenience of having this silly scene. I think it's fine, but it is really dumb.
It's so stupid and it takes so long. I do appreciate that we get to see Diane Keaton's tits, though. I think, older ladies just as hot. Diane Keaton, I would argue, looks better than any of the women in the like sexy lady montage from the beginning because her
Yes.
dress actually fits.
Sure. Yeah. No, it's very funny.
All right. Whew, here we go.
After that rocky, introduction, they do start to warm up to each other. She's also, like getting, dating the doctor, but like then they start they go out to the beach, right?
Yeah. So they go out to the beach. They have a really nice time. And when they come back in, Marin can tell that there's like a little bit of something going on. Or it's the pancake thing.
It's the pancakes, yes.
Yeah, they're up late. They're both night owls. They're famously, neither of them could sleep more than 4 hours a night. And so they decide they're peckish. And this is after her first date with Julian the doctor, Keanu Reeves, who is like deeply into her. I love Keanu Reeves because he makes every role so intense. Like, it's a shitty, weird, silly rom-com. And the way he looks at Diane Keaton is so compelling. I'm like, oh, this man wants to fuck Diane Keaton. It's great. So he says women never eat anything on dates anyway. The 2000s were hell.
It sucks so bad.
Like, they're just bad. But anyway, so they decide to make pancakes, and then Marin comes because she got this like sad voicemail from Harry, and Marin already moved on. Like, she already is seeing somebody new.
Yeah.
And so in the morning, Harry breaks up with her. She goes to break up with him, and then he breaks up with her, which I think is hysterical.
It's pretty
and
good.
She's like, hey, Mom, I know the reason. I saw that there was something cooking here other than the pancakes. Well, I know you don't want to do anything because you thought I fucked him. I didn't fuck him, so, like, he's kind of all yours. Which is just batshit.
It is a weird, like, oh, just because you dated him, we didn't, like, have mucosal contact, so it's completely fine and normal.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's a strange choice, but sure, whatever. But that's how they are allowed to engage in this romance.
Absolutely. So now Erica has permission and has given herself permission to go after Harry. Harry, sometimes the dialogue in this movie feels like it's been cut and pasted together, like they're having 3 different conversations at the same time. And one of those conversations was as Erica was leaving the room, Harry randomly out of nowhere, asks why she's constantly wearing turtlenecks. Because instead of the movie subtly just letting the turtlenecks speak for themselves, they have to explicitly call attention to that costuming detail. And they have this batshit conversation. So as they're learning to get along better, they do start to see some romantic interest in one another. And then it becomes stormy and they run inside in some of the worst rain CGI of the decade. And they run indoors and things proceed to get a little hot and heavy. And then they go to Diane Keaton's bedroom. And then normal people, Aaron, maybe straight sex is different. Feel free to correct me, but most people just take off their clothes.
So when I was the first time I watched this movie, I was probably like 10 through 12, and I was in Singapore. Me and my mom were visiting my family in Singapore. We were jet lagged, so that's why I ended up watching this movie with my mom and my auntie. And this is the part they made me cover my eyes for. And now I see why, because Diane Keaton does ask him to cut the turtleneck off with a pair of scissors that she just has in her bedside table.
Aaron, what's in your bedside table? Is it scissors?
It's not that.
Because I just got like a phone charger and a light.
Listen, there is sex stuff in my bedside table, but like, not scissors.
You gotta get on Diane Keaton's level.
Yeah, apparently. She's into some kinky shit.
She lays there like Jesus on the cross and then is upset with Jack Nicholson when he doesn't cut her sweater.
It's deranged. It rules. It's just great. Erica is an all-time character because she is so just the weirdest person in the world.
She's a freak.
Yes, capital F freak. It's awesome.
I think a lot of repressed white ladies are freaks, though.
Yeah, that's fair. Valid.
You know? Who is 50 Shades of Grey for? Come on.
I mean, is 50? Yeah, I'm willing to say that. Yeah, 50 Shades of Grey was directly influenced by Something's Gotta Give.
Yeah, well, it was at least influenced by the Bush era. I genuinely think we went backwards in the Bush era.
Yes. Yes. I think there is like a weird conservatism throughout this entire movie that almost certainly was influenced by the conservatism of the time. Very strange. Very strange.
So we think, I know our lenses are a little bit biased because we were kids at the time, but like, do we think it's worse now or is it better now? I can't tell.
This is just a talking point that I had, which is like, yeah, did we just notice how bad it was because we don't remember the 90s and 80s? Because like, I'm sure there was like bad shit in the 90s and 80s, right? We're just coming off of Reagan, right?
Right. Well, you're just coming off of Reagan. I'm ramping into Putin.
Yes, I guess. So different form of terrible conservatism over there. But yeah, like, I don't know why this movie has such a conservative, like pseudo misogynistic streak. And I mean, I don't think it's misogynistic as much as it is like, this is just the way that men are, which is almost worse. Yeah.
Well, because I feel like Pretty Woman doesn't do this. Like, Richard Gere gets to play a character who is masculine in like a traditional way, but is also very like, I don't know, he has feelings and goes through a character arc, and it doesn't require him, we'll get to it, interviewing all the women he fucked over.
Right. Like, Jack Nicholson fully has to talk to literally every single woman he's like, hooked up with and then, left. It's like a months-long process. And like, that's presented as a normal thing to do.
Arguably, Richard Gere's character arc started before he met Vivian because, again, he asked that girl after his ex-girlfriend yelled at him. He was like, did you really talk to my secretary more than you talk to me? Like that, right? He's already noticing his own deficiencies. Vivian just gives him a way to address them.
Right. Whereas, arguably, Jack Nicholson's character never changed it. I mean, he like, I don't know. The ending of this movie is so bonkers that I don't know what to do with it. But
we'll get into it. All right, Harry sucks ass, as we just said, and he's not ready to commit, so he leaves the beautiful Hamptons beach house. Dr. Keanu continues to date Erica. She accidentally blows him off because Marin calls her very upset and demands that she comes down to the city from the Hamptons. This is just a personal beef of mine as somebody who lives in New York State, but not the city of New York. Everyone who lives in New York City assumes everybody knows the geography of New York City. So it's like, oh my God, you had to come back into town. From the Hamptons? Isn't the Hamptons in New York? How am I supposed to know that? I'm not a rich New Yorker. Anyway, so if you're making a movie in New York City, fuck you. Anyway. Same with LA, honestly. Oh my God, that's like in Malibu. Where the fuck is Malibu? I don't know. I'm from a small town.
Anyway. Only the Fast and Furious franchise is exempt from that curse.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's fine.
That's fine. They're the only ones that get away with anything in my book. Mm-hmm. So yeah, Marin calls and she's like, hey, Dad, I just met with Dad for lunch. He is getting married to a girl that is 2 years older than me and is an ENT, an ear, nose, and throat doctor. You've got to come down here. I'm losing my mind. I have a big auction tonight. She's an auctioneer.
How do you feel about this Marin's reaction to her dad getting remarried?
I mean, I don't think she's very emotionally mature.
Right.
I think she should keep it together a little better.
Right. This is my feeling too. And Marin is my age, right? She's 29. So it's like, I understand feeling weird about your parent getting remarried, but like they've been divorced for a while.
Yeah.
I just think she like has this, she's like fully sobbing when she's calling Diane Keaton. And I don't know. It was such a strange thing. Like Marin is such a weird character, who is just like serve to like, she exists to make the plot happen, which sucks. But like she does it in such a weird way that I don't like her, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I would wager that Julia Roberts was meant to be about the same age, if not younger, like mid to mid to late 20s in Pretty Woman.
I think Julia Roberts is 20 or 21 in Pretty Woman.
So much depth in her, right? So much like presence of like self in her at that age rather than this 30-year-old baby. Yeah, so Marin's freaking out. I don't think she could hang with us, TBH.
No.
I think we'd maybe have one drink with her and then talk shit for the rest of the night.
Yeah.
So Harry, at the dinner where Erica meets her ex-husband and his fiancée-to-be, she also sees Harry with another young, sexy woman, which causes her to have a huge meltdown. He says to her, "I just don't know how to be a boyfriend," and ends their relationship. Harry has a panic attack and goes to the ER.
Yeah, I mean, he just has, like, bomb after bomb line that make me hate him so much.
I get panic attacked, idiot. Like, I think that was literally what I wrote.
Yes, I watched you write that. I was like, yes, finally. It's so nice to get to see somebody who deserves to have an anxiety disorder when so many people I do know and love have anxiety disorders.
I started having panic attacks when I was 12. It was the scariest shit that ever happened to me. Finally, it's a punishment on someone who deserves it, not my 12-year-old ass. Erica loses her mind. Is this where Twilight got that scene where Bella sits in a fucking chair for 8 months or whatever? Because the camera work is the same.
The new moon, yeah, where it's just like wake up, immediately start crying.
And the camera just spins around her the whole time. It's the same camera work.
It's really good. I think this is supposed to be played as a joke because her sobbing is just like so hysterical. And it happens like literally as soon as she wakes up. But like, you know, it's fun.
We shit on Filari for, I think, 40 minutes about being tonally inconsistent. Mm-hmm. This movie also. Is it a joke? Because the scene where they break up is, like, played for serious.
Yes. Yeah.
And then this is just a comical way to... It was odd. It was odd choice.
It was really weird. But yeah, then she channels her sorrow into making a play.
Yeah, it's called A Woman to Love, which is what Harry calls her, and nobody understands what that means. Harry goes to see rehearsals for it after he has a date with another younger woman who is auditioning for it and tells him what it's about, and it's about him.
Which is very good.
He is upset. He is a little pissy-wissy that his ex is not making a musical about how much he sucks ass. So, okay, they call it a play, but there is music in it, so I think it is a musical.
She's explicitly a Broadway playwright. They never bring up...
You can have Broadway plays, straight plays.
I did not know that. I thought it was exclusively musicals, but it
Broadway.
Seems like they have like a bunch of dancing Harrys, like, so that makes me think that it is a musical.
It's a musical. Broadway just means that the theater is playing and has more than 500 seats.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it literally just referred to Broadway, the street.
No, actually, there's several other streets involved. The more you know. All right. So he learns his character is killed off in the play. That's another heart scare. The doctor tells him to do something not stressful, and we get a batshit 6-month time skip.
Like, what is happening in the pacing of this movie? Just like, we're at like an hour 40, an hour 50 in, and we get this 6-month time skip.
We are not that close to the end for the time skip. There's 2 time skips. This is like an hour 10 in. There's so much movie that you summarized very quickly because I think you went into a fugue state.
We'll see.
It happens early.
I don't think it happens that early, but yeah,
it's somewhere between the two of us, but it's earlier than like hour 40, hour 50. So anyway, Harry shows up to Marin's apartment 6 months later to apologize. This bitch is 3 months pregnant and married.
Yeah, you ever break up with an old man and immediately get married afterwards? And
no,
then
but
get
I'd be
pregnant?
willing to. Any takers?
Well, there you go. It's mortifiedpod@gmail.com. I will also be reading those, so if don't send some weird shit. I'll send a virus to your computer.
I will also send a virus to me.
Real suitors only.
Yeah, between the ages of 28 and 35, please. Anyway, so, batshit. Just a completely batshit decision. So, the timeline there is she breaks up with the old man, and then I guess that guy is probably the guy she says she met and, like, was already dating as she was breaking up with Harry. Mm-hmm. That is still 3 months in which you don't get engaged, you get married, and then are Pregante.
And here's the thing. I dated my wife all through high school, basically. So, like,
y'all have been together forever.
So we've been together for 13 years, married for four in June. So we are like very judgy, engaged. Yeah. And we were engaged 2 years before our wedding. So like, we are very judgy of people who get married quickly. But even that is just like, this is no good. This is bad.
It's bad. They live in a very small apartment in New York City together, and they're about to have a baby. That's
It's no good. Absolutely not.
That's what you did pre-COVID to really test your relationship.
Yeah.
So Marin tells him that Erica went to Paris, which is a thing they said that Erica kind of scared him with, where she was like, hey, if we still know each other in January and February for our birthdays, we should go to Paris together. And that is like the first stage of Harry freaking out that she is taking this more seriously than he is capable of. She actually goes to Paris, and you know, Harry's like, well, you know, I would like to see her. And Marin is like, wow, just saying. Marin... We'll go back to what Marin doesn't say. Harry flies to Paris, finds Erica at the bistro she said she liked, which had, quote, the best roast chicken in the universe. I would like to put that to the fucking test. And they have this, like, clearly kind of awkward half date. And then Marin didn't mention that she's in Paris with Keanu Reeves. So he shows up. And then, for some godforsaken reason, asks Harry to stay for dinner.
Yeah, like, bro, hey, Keanu, can I take you aside for a second, man? If the, like, weird shithead who almost got your current girlfriend to dump you shows up in Paris on her birthday, the night you proposed to her, that's shovel work, my man. That is grounds for fighting. Like, you can't be cool with that.
Which also batshit to propose to a woman 20 years older than you, because Keanu's supposed to be 36 in this movie and she's supposed to be 56. 6 months into dating her.
Yeah, a little soon, everyone. And they can get around this just by making the time skip longer. It wouldn't have changed anything, but they didn't. Nope. They're like, not 6 months.
Nope. Wouldn't have changed a goddamn thing. So, and then the ending happens, which is Keanu and Erica drive away after a long goodbye. Keanu clearly sees she still has feelings for Harry. This is the last we see of Keanu Reeves.
R.I.P.
And then Erica comes back to the fucking... Which, okay, Harry says a line here that I fucking hated, which is he's standing alone on this bridge, it starts to snow, and he's like, now I get to be the girl. Fuck you. Fuck yourself. Fuck this. I hate this. And then Erica shows back up, and she's just like, you know, Julian said I looked like I was still in love with you. And then they get together, and it just sucks. It sucks to watch. Several months later, we time skip again.
This is the second time skip.
And they're getting dinner with Mara and her husband and their new baby, who's going to need just so much goddamn therapy.
So,
because
okay.
Their grandpa is their mom's ex-boyfriend.
And grandma wrote a play where she kills grandpa.
And doing this while dating baby hot young Keanu Reeves, who is in... Hey, I don't know if we have any listeners in the late Gen X, early boomer bracket, but hey, it's hard enough out here. I do not need to be competing with hot 56-year-old women for the eligible doctors out there. So can y'all be cool? Yeah, can y'all be cool, please?
Leave some for the 30-somethings.
Yeah. Wow. I think in the 2000s we as a culture got worse.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like movies got either edgier or more misogynistic or...
Both.
Yeah, both. This is what happens when you introduce CGI. People start getting lazy and terrible.
Oh, God, the 2000s were a fucking cesspool. It was bad out there.
9/11 set us back culturally.
No, for real. Like, 9/11 cast an aspersion on this country. Like, I don't think we've recovered yet.
No,
from the
we
conservative
certainly
bent.
have not.
Oh my god.
Anyway, we're sponsored this episode by GetTrumpSneakers.com. If you want to use the code MortifiedPod, you can get 5% off Donald Trump's $400 golden sneakers, and we will send you personally autographed shoelaces with that.
Yeah. If you buy, me and Aaron were going through this website earlier, and if you have to buy a minimum of 2 items to get the bonus items, and one of the items has to be a sneaker, so you have to spend at least $300 buying a sneaker, a cheaper sneaker, not the sexy gold ones with the bad American flag on them. You have to buy a cheap sneaker, $200, and a cologne or perfume, $100. So you get the bonus items. One of the bonus items is an invite to a party where Donald Trump may or may not show up, probably not. And then the other one is you could get some shoelaces. And Aaron made the funniest joke anyone could possibly make, because he said, if you buy these shoes and you get, someone asks you where you got the shoelaces, you could say you got them from the president. Which, if you weren't on Tumblr about 10 years ago, that made no sense to you. But if you were, hopefully you're giggling.
Oh, it's really good. It's really good.
God.
Incredible period in history we live in.
Oh, we live in hell. We live in a purgatory. We cannot escape.
I wonder if like this era will produce rom-coms as rancid as the Bush era.
I hope we just go back to like I want batshit early 90s. I want weird. I want 1993 Mario. I want fucking, what is that one horror musical we watched? I want, I know this is early 2000s, but the Repo. I want weird shit. I want weird shit that is of the time, so that when we watch it, we actually like it, instead of when we watch it 15 years later and we don't like it because it was of the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I want it to be of our time.
Yes. Yeah, so, I have a couple talking points. We kind of covered a lot of them.
This is a shockingly long episode for the subject matter.
Yeah, listen, we have a lot to say about rom-coms.
We love rom-coms. Mortifiedpod@gmail.com if you have one to recommend to us.
Yes, please do. Do you think that there's like a fundamental difference in the way that these movies portray their like eroticism? Like there are sex scenes in these, but like I do feel like the 1990s one, the Pretty Woman, is just like much more like earnest and sexy, whereas Something's Gotta Give is less sexy and more the most insane thing I've ever seen in my life.
Well, the thing about the Pretty Woman sex scenes is that they come as, Julie Roberts in it says she's a given, right? So, like, it comes with the territory that they're going to have sex. But the way in which they have sex changes, and it's also driven by this, like, again, this, like, bewitched nature of Richard Gere, like, seeing her break the presumptions he has about the world that he lives in. It comes from an inherent tension of her invading his space, because she does not see, she's like immune to the walls he's built around him, right? She doesn't see him as Edward Norton, the owner of the Norton
Not
Industries.
Edward Norton. Edward Norton is from Fight Club.
Lewis?
I think it's Lewis.
Edward Lewis.
Yes.
Lewis Industries. I've only seen Fight Club once, so I don't know why I was thinking about Norton.
Hysterical.
So Edward Lewis Industries, she doesn't see all these walls he's built around himself. She's just kind of constantly invading his space, and there's genuine tension. They're both going through their character arcs. Something's Gotta Give is the most slapstick bullshit I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it's so strange. Like, I don't think it's trying to be titillating at all. It is. I don't know if like they're making some of the humor in Something's Gotta Give is definitely like, isn't it funny that this old person's fucking, which is no fun. Old people have sex. They're people. But
and
like,
they should.
Yeah, like it's very strange that like there is no romance. There's nothing there to be like, oh yeah, they're having fun, with each other. It just feels fundamentally different to me.
Yeah, it doesn't feel fun. It doesn't feel driven by anything. It feels like they're just doing it because it's the right steps to take in a rom-com. Like, oh, these two people meet. They kind of like each other. Now they're gonna fuck. It didn't feel motivated. It didn't feel driven. There was no tension. It was, if there was any tension, it was completely disrupted by this like slapstick nature of all the other interactions. Which is because there are really good lines and really good moments in that movie, which is like the pancake thing, right? Where they're talking about pancakes, but it's clearly about their relationship, where like Marin comes in and Harry, played by Jack Nicholson, is like, oh, you don't want pancakes? And it takes Diane Keaton a moment to go like, no, not anymore, because she thinks there's still something happening there. But it's like, it's trying to be three different movies. It's very weird. It's odd. It just like, the beauty of a rom-com is you're rooting for the protagonists. I wasn't rooting for anyone but Keanu Reeves in that movie.
Right, exactly. And like Keanu Reeves gets such a raw deal. Like, I completely understand why he becomes John Wick after this, because like if this happens to me, I become a murderer too.
I genuinely thought that he was going to get with Marin and then Harry and Erica were going to get together.
Right. That would make a little bit more sense. No, he's just fully cut out of this entire movie after this.
He gets a solo Paris vacation.
Yeah, that sucks. Poor Keanu. I'm so sorry. So, one thing to wrap it back around to Something's Gotta Give for our marketing minute. Leyla, to create a new iconic film of the 2020s, I think we should make a rom-com about the baby. I think we do a time skip 20 years later after the baby, and we have to like work through, you know, what it's like to be a person whose grandpa is their mom's ex-boyfriend.
Oh my god. Oh, you've laid such a burden on my shoulders. Because my initial instinct is to put them in our Just Us 6 and send them to DC.
I'm listening.
They could be they could be the fake Democrat.
Maybe Marin is on one side. Like, maybe she is like the liberal, like, Democrat. But what if the baby becomes like the right-wing reactionary type, and like is one of the people storming the Cap? Like, listen, if this happened to me, I absolutely would become violent and unhinged. If this was my life.
Yeah, I think there would also be something wrong with me. So that's my first pitch.
I mean, Just Us 6 is just such a good, juicy idea that, like, I think that's got to be the new Mortified cinematic universe, along with the joint Aladdin / I want to say Phantom. We pitched a joint Aladdin Phantom crossover movie.
No, what we pitched was you do Aladdin and Phantom next to each other. And then I think at one point Aladdin, like, there's a hatch that opens.
Yes, and Aladdin comes into Phantom for a bit. Just as a quick hello. We're fucking funny, and people should hire us to produce and write for them, because we're great at it.
They should just invest in us personally, I think.
Again, mortifiedpod@gmail.com. Ripe for investors. Leyla, when we are not just really understanding culture, dissecting it, analyzing it, and then using it as fuel for our own twisted minds, where else can we be found on the internet?
You can find me at LEYLSES on Blue Sky or Tumblr. I'm just working. Silent Hill Ascension's taking a bunch of my time. If you have dipped into Silent Hill Ascension, you can see me on stream in the app most Mondays and Fridays, and Wednesdays if Eduardo or Noah or are sick. So if you want to see me make more goofs and gags professionally, I do put on very good eye makeup, and go do that.
Yes, please go support Leyla and the team over there at Ascension. You can find me on Twitter at AaronSXL, on Blue Sky at AAVoigt. My YouTube is at AAVoigt. I'm in the works, probably late March, I'm going to release what I'm tentatively titling the most important RPG in tabletop essay in RPG or tabletop history. It's probably going to blow your socks off. You'll probably never understand media the same way again. So look for that in late March. On my YouTube channel. Our theme song is Obsolete by Keshko from the album Filmmakers Reference Kit Volume 2. You can find more of their music at keshko.bandcamp.com. But yeah, that's about it. Leyla, do you think this was a good episode?
It was so good I almost peed my pants.
We'll see you all next time.